What is going on, guys? My name is Cakes Mitchell, and today we're going to be talking about Phora's new album, Yours Truly, Forever. So Phora is an artist that I've been following for a little while. I like his stuff. I really appreciate the kind of artist that he is, and he just released a new album called Yours Truly, Forever. And for those of you guys who don't know, I have a separate channel called Cakes Reacts where I react to different music videos and things as they come out. And I also occasionally do album reviews for albums that I am anticipating to listen to, and I watch them with you guys as I listen to it for the very first time. Now, I did that with Yours Truly Forever, but like most of my album reactions happen is that it gets struck with a copyright claim thing and it gets blocked worldwide. So that's what happened with this. It was up for a little while, but if you guys are interested in watching these with me, I am able to listen to it as it's live. So if that's something you're interested in, go check that out. That's something that we do over there. Okay, so Yours Truly Forever. Phora, did I like it? The short answer is yes, I really enjoyed this album. It was a bit of a longer album, and anyone who's been following me for any period of time knows that I typically like shorter, more concise albums. Because I feel like a lot of time, albums that tend to get a little bit longer, you tend to see a little bit more of filler tracks. And a filler track is basically just a song that doesn't really give value to the album. It's just kind of there to add additional songs to the album. And a lot of the time, they're neither good nor bad. They're just kind of there. And there is a few of these in this album. I feel like personally, I'll address those as they come up. But just know going in, there's a few filler tracks, but overall, I really did enjoy this album. And for those of you guys who don't know, as I listen to the album for the first time, I grade each song from 1 to 10, and then I add all the scores together, divide by the number of songs, and then that gives the album a grade. So I'm just gonna go down through here and give you guys kind of each score for each song. So, here we go. God got a 7.5, Are You Still 7.5, Facts an 8, Way Too Much a 7, Center Part 2 a 10, To the Moon an 8, Forever an 8, Numb a 9, Rider 7.5, Loyalty 7.5, No Looking Back an 8, Everybody Knows a 7, Run 2 a 7, I Come Apart 8.5, In My Eyes a 9.5, and When It's Over an 8.5. So overall, guys, if you add all these scores together, divide by the number of songs, which is 16, the album gets an 8. So let's talk about some of the things that I really dug about this album. Phora has become a master at really crafting his songs in a style, and he really has a distinct sound. Now, I talked about this on my Best Rapper Ever series, where I talk about Phora, and he has that very distinct style and flow, where as soon as you hear his voice, you automatically know that it's Phora. And that carries through this album. There's a lot of the same Phora, which isn't a good or a bad thing, it just is. I personally really love his flow, that kind of melodical kind of flow that he displays a lot of the time. There's a lot of that on this album. But my most favorite flow by Phora, I say this time and time again, and I know you guys probably hate me for saying this so much, is I really love the aggressive Phora. And we get that quite a bit on this album, actually. Like, for Facts, Center Part 2 is my favorite song of all time by Phora. Absolutely love that song. And, In My Eyes. Let's talk about that song. And sorry, this album review is kind of all over the place. I'm still kind of structuring these and how I want to go about these, so I'm just going to kind of ramble about the album, and that's how we're going to do it for right now until I have a more structured way of doing this. So In My Eyes is a song that I did not see coming out of anywhere. It's the second to last song on the album, and probably, to me, the second best song on the entire album, which blows me away how it doesn't have a music video yet. Maybe they're saving it, or if they're not gonna do it, that's really gonna confuse me, because it's such a story-driven track that you feel like it definitely needs a video. And I feel like with the drop of this album, that would have been a great song to really promote the album. Maybe they're saving that after the album, the buzz for it kind of dies out a little bit. Maybe they'll drop that to regain some buzz, so maybe that's their strategy going into it. But yeah, guys, In My Eyes, what an incredible song. And Center Part 2, obviously my favorite song, a 10 out of 10. I don't give 10s out hardly ever, but that track to me is the epitome of what Phora can be, and the talent-wise, like how good of an artist Phora can be. Now let's talk about like a little bit of a negative on a couple of the tracks, is that although Phora does have that distinct sound, sometimes I feel like that can be his Achilles heel in some instances, is that some of the songs, for instance, is like Run To, Everybody, and Loyalty. I feel like it suffers from, it just feels like a forgettable kind of Phora song where he has the same kind of flow, same style of a beat. Obviously, he's talking about different stuff, but if you legit took any verse out of any of their songs and like rehearse it to me, like told me the lyrics, I would not, like if I heard it, I would not be able to tell you which song that's from. And I feel like that's one thing with Phora where it's a blessing and a curse that he has such a distinct sound, but also a lot of his songs do sound very similar in that aspect. Which is why I personally love when he gets aggressive on tracks and really switches it up, because I feel like he's at his best when he's in an aggressive kind of mood, but he's kind of grown his fan base on that really melodical kind of positive vibe, which I totally understand. So for me, the album kind of dragged on a little bit. I think it was a little bit too long. I feel like if you cut out some of those filler tracks, like Are You Still was okay, Way Too Much, wasn't really a big fan, Run To, Loyalty, like some of these songs, and Rider, some of these songs I'm not the hugest fan of. I know like Rider, for instance, is definitely a song that has its fans and people who really, really dig that track. Just for me personally, not the biggest fan. Some of these tracks I feel like are filler tracks just to make the album longer, and I feel like he's invested so much time that he feels like he has to put these songs out. But for me personally, I would have rather him take an approach of maybe cutting a few of these out to make a more concise album. But overall, guys, from beginning to end, the pacing on this album was pretty good for the most part. The album started off pretty steady, like a typical kind of Phora kind of vibe. Picked up with Facts, brought it way back down with Way Too Much, and then Sinner Part 2, the best part of the album, and then it was pretty solid throughout, and then ended with When It's Over, which was a very nice song to go out on, and was a good closing song. And one thing with that song, with When It's Over, is that when he worked with the different artists that displayed their ability to like use a chorus, I feel like Phora could capitalize on that more, because even though Phora is very good at singing, he's very good at making choruses, it was a nice breath of fresh air to hear a different voice on a chorus. Typically for me, I like it when an artist is the only artist on an album, because I want to feel like it's their story. But in this instance, I feel like Phora definitely benefits from having someone else on the chorus, and it's a nice contrast to his typical kind of all about the only Phora being on the song. So overall, guys, let's talk about some of my favorite songs on the album. We have In My Eyes with a 9.5, Numb, love that song with a 9, and Sinner Part 2 with a 10. Some of my least favorite songs on the album are Way Too Much, Run To, and Everybody Knows. So overall, guys, this was a good, solid album from Phora. Absolutely and completely satisfied with what I got. The album gets an 8. Such a good, solid album. I feel like this is, I know Phora has had stuff come out in the past, but for me, this is like Phora's I'm Here Now album. And I feel like I said the same exact thing for Jordan Lucas when he released the 508 album, but I feel like the same is the case with Phora, is that I feel like as soon as someone is new to Phora, I'm automatically going to send them this album, say, just check this out. There's going to be some songs that you really, really will dig, and I'll suggest like Sinner Part 2 and In My Eyes. And it's a good introduction to Phora. I'm really excited to see how Phora is going to grow in the future, and where he's going to take a new direction. Is he going to be in the same kind of path of making the same style of music? Is he going to switch it up? And I know that's not something that a lot of fans like to hear, but I think personally it's very important for an artist to switch up and make different kinds of music in the future, because they need to evolve as a person. And if they're staying in the same lane, then it's not good for anyone, because people change, and I feel like the music needs to change with them. But that's a tangent for another day. Thank you guys so much. What did you guys think about the album? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to help support the small channel, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Don't have to. It's just something that I would appreciate that you do. Thank you guys so much. My name is Cakes Mitchell. You can follow me on Snapchat. Actually, just Instagram now. I'm trying to just do that now. Follow me on Instagram at Cakes Mitchell. And until next time.